I welcome you all with love and also peace. And we're really talking about more peace of mind right now. As everybody's aware, the coronavirus is causing a lot of fear and concern. And one of the messages is, well, just wait, a vaccine will come out and everything will be okay. And the science doesn't support that. Now, I'll put it that way. What we know is that there was like a 98% decrease in all acute infectious diseases from 1900 to about 1940. And then when vaccines were brought in, 40 to 1945, the beginning of that, there was another 1% drop. What's the message? Called healthy living, called good hygiene, called clean water. Okay? These are all things that actually really made a difference from 1900 to present. So let's look at, do flu vaccines work? And there's a kind of an interesting thing that we're seeing is that really last year the flu vaccine was 9% effective. The year before it was 10% effective. Now, the CDC claims up to 60% effective, and that has been true once in the last 15 years. But that's not generally what's true. That's the thing we have to understand. It was true once. Now, there are other statistics, and there's three factors that seem to affect the effectiveness, okay? One is, have you had previous vaccinations? And when they see people have 1 to 3 previous vaccinations, the vaccine drops to about 26% effectiveness in the big picture. When people have 9 to 10 previous flu vaccinations, it drops to 7% effectiveness. And if people had really no previous flu vaccinations, it's sometimes around 34%. That makes up that bigger picture that we're talking about. There was a very interesting study done in Brazil. And it was like a 5-year study. And they studied and compared the traditional vaccinations, and they saw about a 10 to 30% effectiveness over 5 years with about 8,000 people. And then they compared it to what we call homeopathic prophylaxis. Now, what's that? Well, that means using homeopathic remedies. And we're talking about measles, mumps, rubella, diphtheria, and things like that. And that effectiveness with homeopathy was 93%. So one's 10 to 30%, one's 93%. So that's a pretty important statement. Now, so I've mentioned number of vaccinations, it plays a role. The more vaccinations, the less effective. The more previous flu vaccinations. Age plays a role too. So after the age of 60, there's a drop in effectiveness to about 20%. Okay? And then if you're overweight, it plays a role too. People who are overweight, their vaccines are less effective. So giving a message that the vaccine is not going to save people, let's say we get 10 to 30% effectiveness, like the Brazilian study, which is pretty accurate. I'm not sure if there are any homeopathic treatments out for the coronavirus, since it's not it's a bioweaponized virus. It's homeopathy. We'll see if they've developed that. I haven't actually researched that up. But what we do know is for the straight flu, the influenzainum, homeopathic is actually quite effective, and we're running around 93%. So keeping that in mind, what's really most important, and that's really the point I was making at the beginning, is between 1900 and the early 1940s, there was a 98% drop in the amount of acute diseases. And it has to do with lifestyle. So when we look at, we have the coronavirus 19, COVID-19, what to do? Well, one of the things to do is you want your lungs to be stronger because that's where it mostly affects. So what do we do about that? We do breathing exercises, and we do physical exercises in general, and we wash our hands. And I've mentioned before of a aromatherapy that Shanti's developed called Germs Be Gone that we put on our hands, spray on all the surfaces. It's really quite effective. They used aromatherapy during the bubonic plague in Europe with very powerful results. So, washing your hands. As we go out in public, I think the research is saying, wear a mask. Now, the mask goes two ways. Now, what we kind of hear about that is, it's just to prevent you from infecting someone else if you happen to have it. But the other side of that is somebody's coughing around you, you're on the airplane, you're on a crowd, and the mask is going to protect you from air droplets and cough droplets and sneezing and things like that, particularly if it covers your eyes as well. So there's a kind of mask that go like this with some shield for your eyes. It also keeps you from touching yourself, so you're not spreading it and infecting yourself, like your hands get things on, then you put it in your mouth or your eyes or something like that. So that's good. Eating healthily, eating at least 100% vegan, 80% live food diet is going to give you, a greatly increased immunity. In my newsletter, I put out a whole list of nutritional herbal antivirals. Hey, they work. In fact, what I'm going to say is, this is a little football saying, but it's really important. The best defense is a good offense. Let's go after those viruses. Let's take herbal remedies that really protect us, that protect our lungs and protect our immune system and build our immune system. We can do that. So I have a whole list of antiviral nutritionals that are there, and antiviral aromatherapies, and antiviral vitamins. Now, for example, I have mentioned previously about a cytokine storm, which really goes into the lungs when the body overreacts. Well, it looks like vitamin D is somewhat helpful for that. And vitamin D on a regular basis also has been shown to cut upper respiratory infections by 50% because it's strengthening the whole area. Vitamin A plays a really important role. So it's like, wait a second, folks. This stuff really works. We can go on the offensive and significantly make a difference. And, going antiviral and building your immune system is what we're talking about. Okay, and again, if you want to sign up for my newsletter, drcousins.com, and you can kind of get all the details of it. But the point I'm making is more important. Your lifestyle plays a huge role, dropping the acute diseases by 98% between 1900 and the early 1940s. That's good. Breathing exercises, general exercises, positive attitude. We know when people are depressed, they're more likely to get sick from anything. Okay, drinking clean water. All these things, getting enough rest. We know when you don't get enough sleep, your immune system within a day or two goes down. So when we take the whole picture, don't be waiting around for a vaccine to show up at 10 to 30% effectiveness and possibly some big downsides, okay? We can do it now. So may you be blessed that we really go after this with antiviral and a healthy lifestyle that builds your immune system. Peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Tekilasan. Amen.